Ola Sand, we're here in Valletta for the Junior Eurovision Song Contest. How has everything been going so far? You of all people should know.
Yeah, well, it has been going very well. We've had extensive rehearsals over a week, and it has been going well. I think PBS, the host broadcaster, is well prepared. The kids are well prepared, the delegations are well prepared, and yeah, it looks good.
We have quite a lot of format changes this year, one of them being the fact that it is now a 100% jury show. Can you tell us a little bit about that decision and why it was made?
Well, we looked at the televoting, and over the year it has declined. That's a general trend actually for shows like this, and we saw that it was a very expensive operation to run, and there were very few televotes coming in. So we decided, why don't we give the kids a real expert panel who can judge them and can look at them and give comments. And then we have the kids juries and the professional juries in each country. And we think this is a good setup for the future.
You say that it's a general trend in shows like this. Does this mean that something like this could also be the future of the adult contest, more and more jury vote?
Well, we don't see it so much for Eurovision Song Contest, although we see a small decline there as well. We don't see it that much, and the voting is massive still, so we have no ideas that this could happen in the next years, no.
At the adult contest, it's always 50% juries at the last dress rehearsal and then 50% televotes at the TV show. Now there's no televote. Does that mean that the show, all the results are actually made up today and not tomorrow?
Well, it's based on the jury votes for Junior is based on yesterday's rehearsal, but the juries are viewing it today, so that we will have the result very, very close to the competition, and then we add on for the expert juries who actually sees it live here.
All right. For kids, I've seen them have a lot of fun here during this weekend, meeting each other. But it's also still a competition. That can bring a little bit of pressure. Of course, we see that the adult contest, but then they're adults. Now they're kids. What do you do as an organization to help them feel comfortable?
Well, first of all, kids love to compete. They do it in sports, they do it every day. I mean, that's how kids are. We try to build a very strong sort of supporting system around them. They bring their parents here, some bring their friends together in the delegation. We have very professional team at both at EBU and at PBS who look after the kids and make sure that they have an enjoyable week where they can meet other kids on the island, they can participate in activities around Valletta and around the island, and they all have a great week.
Australia is back here, and you've also mentioned already that they will be in Kiev as well. But as you've stated in the videos which we've seen, it's still on a case-by-case basis, and it's the reference group that decides. Is that correct? Yes,
we have a governing body of the Eurovision Song Contest, which is the reference group made up of members that participates in Eurovision Song Contest. And every year we do an evaluation of whether Australia should come in. We also have discussed whether other broadcasters should participate, but that is not decided. But for Australia, it's a case by case, year by year, and then we have to evaluate whether they should be a permanent participant or not.
And what are the arguments on which this should be decided? You said it's on a case by case basis. How can they deserve their place?
Well, we have to look at the rules and the setup, and we have to talk very thoroughly with all the members, because this is a competition that originates from Europe, that has been built up for many years by the members that has participated. And with a new member coming in like Australia, we have to make sure that everyone is on board and can accept them as a permanent member. It's not something I can decide, and not even the reference group alone, but we can give advice and we can give recommendation, and then there will come a decision one day.
We've been talking a lot already about the next big competition in Kiev. Earlier this week you've voiced some concerns about the preparations for the contest. Tell us about it. How is it going so far? Are you still confident that it will be all done in time?
Yes, I am confident it will all be done in time, but they have very little time left. Basically, they started too late, and the reason for that was mainly hurdles that is in the legislation and the laws in Ukraine. And the laws and legislation is good, and it's good for Ukraine, but it doesn't really fit the pace of Eurovision Song Contest. So we have voiced clear concern about the timing. We have said that they need to speed up in order to meet the deadline, and they have done so. And now we're quite confident that we have the pace we need to make 3 fantastic shows in Kiev.
Originally, the dates for the contest was, I think, the 20th, the day of the final, and Ukraine had a Remembrance Day, so it had to be moved. It was moved 1 week earlier, let's say. Why hasn't it been moved a week later so they would have 2 weeks extra to prepare? And also, it would have prevented a clash with European football in the midweek shows.
Yeah, well, we had a clash. If we moved it a week later, we would have a clash with European football as well, even the Champions League final. And we also have to look at actually something as practical as satellite capacity in Europe. Do we manage to get everything out? We have the German Cup final coming in the weeks after. We have the Champions League. So it had to be a week before and not a week after. It would have given them more time, but that was the way it had to be.
One last thing, this week we've seen a press release from the San Marini's delegation that they would want to have their televote put up in a different way. The rulebook for the contest is already set. Does this come too late, or is it theoretically still possible to change a system like that?
At least we will discuss it with the reference group in our meeting in January, and then we will see what the outcome will be. As you said, the rules are set, but let's have a look at it and see whether we can go in that direction or not for this year.
Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you.